Hello, darkness, my old friend. You've come to talk with me again. Sens lose 2-1 to the Dallas Stars.
How are the young guys now? I finally did it! I scored again! Quit taking penalties!
The Sens are gonna blow this game. Way to tie up the stick in front. Not.
Well done. Just well done.
You better believe we're gonna be having a penalty chat at the end of this one.
What a time to be alive!
What a long and brutal season that was.
This team, man!
So, the Sens lose again. A buddy of mine suggested that maybe it's time I start embracing losing, since it will give the Sens a high pick. But there's two problems with that. Problem number one, even if the Sens finished last, they're still only going to pick fourth. It's the Sens. Do you really expect them to win anything? And secondly, we're 8 games into the season, and we're already supposed to embrace losing. Like, yes, this is great! Here's the problem. Like I mentioned earlier, there's no pot of gold at the end of this losing. So why would we want to lose? Besides, the team isn't even watchable. How can I embrace losing if I can't even stand to watch them? He is right though. I'm just not sure I'm capable. Now, having said all that, I didn't even bother last night. There were 3 things on television I wanted to watch, and the Sens game was third on that list. So, with that in mind, the Sens lost last night, and I didn't even have to watch. Now that's losing I can get behind. As always though, let's kick things off with lineup changes. After losing to Arizona on Saturday, the Sens made a trio of roster moves as Scott Sabourin and Jordan Schwartz drew out, while Mikhail Bodker and Artem Anisimov drew in up front, and Anders Nilsson got the start and goal, while Craig Anderson got the night off. And not even a minute into the game, the Sens already give up a breakaway. Thankfully, Nilsson is there, and we're still tied at 0. And then like seconds later, the Sens give up another point-blank opportunity, but again, Nilsson is there to save the day. Thank God for Nilsson, because we're off to a great start to this one. And that great start carries over for most of the period as the Stars outshoot the Sens 14-2. The Sens do close the gap a little, but before the end of the period, the Stars find the back of the net and take a 1-0 lead. The Sens lose a puck battle in their own zone. Fedun gets it at the point, he fires the shot on goal, Faxa tips it from the high slot in front, it beats Nilsson, and with 1:02 left in the first period, the Stars lead 1-0. I think that's the most disappointing thing about this goal, is the fact that it came right at the end of the period. It's such a momentum killer. You have to be locked in at the start and end of periods. The Sens weren't, and now they're down by a goal. Then around the midway mark of the second period, the Sens run into some penalty trouble as Nemesnikov and Pajot get sent off 32 seconds apart, giving the Dallas Stars a 5-on-3 for nearly a minute and a half. And surprise, surprise, the Stars score. Imagine having a power play where you actually score goals? And I do not want to hear anything about, oh, but Ottawa just scored a power play goal. They're 1 for 25 on the power play this season. Dead last. And speaking of the Stars' power play goal, Tyler Seguin fires a shot on goal, Nilsson makes a save, but can't control the rebound, Jamie Benn picks it up and taps it backwards to Joe Pavelski, he fires a shot on goal that squeaks by Anders Nilsson, and the Stars lead 2-0. Then the period continues, Tyler Seguin hits the post, and Heiskanen hits the crossbar. Holy man! I'm watching the condensed game to figure out what happened last night. Did Ottawa even show up? It's all Dallas highlights. This team is really, really not good. At this rate, I'm honestly not sure I'm going to be able to survive the whole season. Despite the absolute massacre the Sens are experiencing, they head to the second intermission, only trailing 2-0, thanks in large part to Anders Nilsson. Unlike Saturday night's game though, there's no third period pushback in this one. If only you could see me watching the highlights. We're barely a minute into the third period. The Stars have already had 3 point-blank chances, but thanks to Nilsson, none of them went in. All I can do is cover my eyes and shake my head. This is awful. I don't even want to watch them anymore. Until there's some improvement, all I'm going to do is dread Sens games. Oh, I guess I should add that Nemesnikov did score late to break the shutout. The Stars do skate away with a 2-1 win, but it should have been way worse. Anders Nilsson was excellent as the Stars outshot the Sens 43-20. Let's just get into good news, bad news. Vladislav Nemesnikov has been excellent since coming over from the Rangers, and that is the good news. Nemesnikov playing well does 3 of 4 things for the Sens. 1, it keeps the young guys in the minors and doesn't force them to have to play in the NHL. 2, it allows the Sens to have somebody capable of playing in the NHL on their roster, because right now it just is brutal. And the third thing is that if the Sens decide they want to keep him, he can be a real solid piece and is learning through the Sens system now. Or, if they decide that he's playing well and they want to move him, they'll probably be able to move him for more than they got him for. If you can acquire a guy for a 4th round pick and turn around and trade him a few months later for a 3rd or better, that's a win. Vladislav Nemesnikov leads the Sens in goals and in points and has been real solid since coming over from the Rangers, and that is the good news. Now, for the bad news. The Sens have played 8 games so far this season, and they already have a 3-game and a 4-game losing streak, and that is the bad news. I know, I talked about embracing losing, and I'm going to try, but in this case, I don't understand how this is helping. How are the young guys like Chabot, Kachuk, White, Brandstrom, how is losing all the time going to help these guys? It really doesn't make any sense to me. I get that there's a rebuild, I get that the Sens are aiming for a high pick, but like I said, what benefit are you doing the young guys you already have if all they know how to do is lose? The top YouTube comment on the Sens Stars condensed game from last night was something along the lines of, I don't even know if the Sens are going to win 20 games. And honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if he's right. But what good is that doing? How does not winning 20 games a season help your young guys? That's no good, and that is the bad news. Next up, the Sens return home on Wednesday evening for a matchup with the Detroit Red Wings. Coming into this season, the Sens and Red Wings split the season series 2-2 last season, with the Sens winning the first 2 games and the Wings winning the last 2. So far this season, though, the Wings are 3-5 and are actually playing while I'm recording this video. So that's a big advantage for the Sens, and hopefully they can take advantage. That's going to do it for this video. Hit like if you liked the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share the video with your friends, and today's question, what would you do with Vladislav Nemesnikov? Would you keep him? Would you trade him? Let me know in the comments down below. And we'll see you Wednesday night when the Sens host the Detroit Red Wings.